Alright, so this is my video reflection for task 7C, my last video. My growth goal for this one was element 12, engaging students in cognitively complex tasks. And I picked this one because it was an area that hadn't been shown before, and it's actually an area that I oftentimes kind of struggle with just making sure I include and finding things to do. And so I was intentional about finding an activity that was working with what we were doing in math and having them dig a little bit deeper into it. So as far as my scoring for element 12, I gave myself a 2.5. I did that based on teacher evidence that I was having them engage in complex tasks. I understand why it's important and the ways that I can do that. And the students were engaged, and in the video you can see them engaged. Or the student video, you can see them talking about their work that they're doing and kind of bouncing ideas off each other, working together to figure out what they did. So a 2.5 for that. Then element 16, identifying or highlighting critical information. I gave myself a 2.0. I felt like I did a good job of saying, like, these are the important things, these are what you need to do, this is what you need to pay attention to. But I didn't necessarily have the students engage with that, so they didn't. I could have possibly had them repeat back to me or tell an elbow partner what the directions were, what they needed to focus on, so that they really knew what they were going to be doing once they got with their partner. Then element 22, organizing students to interact. I gave myself a 2.5. I feel like I typically am, I feel like a 4 in this area, but it's just hard because there wasn't necessarily all the student evidence. I purposely put the students with a partner based on their math ability, and this is pretty typical for me in math. When they partner up, I will never put top student with the bottom student. I usually try and balance it out, a top student with a middle student with a lower student, and then kind of mixing in between. In particular place, the students, some of the student evidence that I saw, they got with their partner and they started working, and it just wasn't having them explain why they're working in partners and what they're doing. So that's why it was a 2.5 like that. Then number 23, noticing when students are not engaged. I gave myself a 3 for that. I feel like I'm pretty on top of noticing when students are with me or not. I'm constantly monitoring. There were a couple times in the video, I noticed that some students weren't, and so I just stopped teaching, said, "Are we good?" And then told them that I would give them partners when I can see that everyone's ready. And student evidence is that they know that I noticed they're not engaged, and then they try to fix their problem or fix what they're doing so that we can get back on track. Then element 26, maintaining a lively pace. I gave myself a 3.0. Again, I felt like the lesson went at a good pace. I slowed down and repeated some things that needed to be repeated, but didn't spend a ton of time with it. I used a video for a hook to kind of get them paying attention and seeing what was going on. And then the students, it was kind of a few different things going on where they were putting one thing away, getting another thing out, and they did that quickly. They stayed on track, and we kept going with what we were doing. Element 33, I gave myself a 3.0. I think I've said this a few times, but I feel like the rules and procedures in my class are pretty established. Probably didn't see as much of it as you have in some of the other videos, but the kids know what I expect. They were listening when they needed to. They knew where to put their folders and things when I ask them to do so. They quiet down when I need them to, and they regulate their own behavior, which is one of the student evidence things. So I felt like that was a 3. Then element 35, demonstrating witness. I feel like this was kind of similar to the noticing when students aren't engaged, which is the fact that I notice problems, I call attention to it if I need to, and redirect, and students do that. They stop the behavior, re-engage, and notice that I'm noticing. So I did a 3.0 for that one as well. Element 37, acknowledging lack of adherence to rules and procedures, kind of goes along with that. When students weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, I used a verbal cue to redirect and got them back where they needed to be, and students stopped what they were doing and did what they were supposed to do. So a 3.0 for that one. And then element 40, displaying objectivity and control. I feel like for the teacher evidence, I was calm, in control. I feel like I kind of have that demeanor in general when teaching, and the students appear calm, and the classroom atmosphere in general is usually pretty calm. This was a little more chaotic of a situation just because there was a little bit more going on, and it wasn't a kind of typical structured class, but yet it was still calm and things were getting done that need to be done. So and that was my scores for those.